Hello, everybody. Let's see if we can do take two. Just give it a minute and see if everybody can come back. I don't know what happened there. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, it looks like I'm back on again. So no one missed anything. It was just me rambling on about what we're going to use. And does it look okay now? So we're back, take two. I don't know what happened. We're using Art Impressions clear stamps. We've got Prism Studio, and we've got some archival ink, and we've got OLFA scissors and Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. So I did post that first part, but mainly it's just kind of reviewing what we're using today. So we're going to make this cute gnome card and hope that nothing else goes wonky. All right, let's see. I have stamped on this piece here. I've stamped the little gnome. I've stamped the mushrooms to the side, and this is mostly just as a guide for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to color these in, and we're going to stamp some flowers, and then we can actually color these guys and cut them out. So the dies come with this set, and the dies actually cut them out really, really nicely. So I'm going to pull out these Prism Studio colored pencils. And this is a really cute tin. It comes with a cover, prismstudio.ca, and they are, I think maybe it's a fairly new company, and I'm really loving working with their products. So these little gnomes are from the gnomes set, and then the mushrooms. We've got the mushrooms from the Whimsical Mushroom set. And then we are going to use the flowers, and the flowers are going to be from the Whimsical Flowers set. So it's all in this release, was all released together, and they all mix and match, but they also match with a lot of the other Art Impression stamps, which are lovely. Yes, thanks, Diane. Welcome back to everybody who came back to join me. I don't know what happened. So maybe what we'll do first is we'll stamp our flowers. And I know that I want this little daisy stamp. And then we're going to use the Hickory Smoke archival ink from Ranger. And that's going to give us just a little bit lighter than a black ink. And that way we'll be able to get a little bit more of like a no line coloring. So we've got a couple different daisies. I love that they put them in there. They each go a different way. So this one here, and we can stamp over the pot because this is just our guide. So we'll put this one kind of down here. And then we'll do one more that's leaning to the right. Let's see here. I'm leaving a little bit of room because I want some leaves in there. And let me just get a cloth so I can wipe this off. And welcome back to everybody. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Sometimes I think we will never know. These little daisies are really cute. Have you guys stamped with any of this set? I'm going to put this daisy up here. And you could, if you wanted to have it up higher, you could even just use, you know, if you were stamping in black, a black pen or a gray pen, and just extend that line. And then let's grab a few of these little leaves. We can just tap that in there. And I felt like this was easier. I even kind of double stamped that, but that's going to be fine because it's a lighter ink and we're going to use our colored pencils. All right, and then we've got another one of this that's almost leaning a little bit the other way. And I think that's good. And this stamps really nicely. So we'll put that to the side. And I really like this size of this Prism Studio block. There's 3 sizes on their website. There's this one, there's a 4x6 is the largest they have, and then there's one in between. And I feel like it's a good, sometimes you just need a stamp block. Sometimes I do use a stamp press, but other times it's just easier to use the block. So we've got our images stamped. We know we don't have to color this in. It was just the guide. And what I found, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So I am going to turn my iPad on just because I want to be able to see comments, but if it looks glitchy, just let me know and then I'll turn that off. Let's just make sure it's looking okay. All right. So what I found with these color pencils, they go on really smoothly. I really like using the titanium white that's in the set of 24. It's the colored pencils. Hello, Cynthia. And what I like doing is adding a little bit of highlight. Now, of course, you can't see it because it's white and we're coloring on a white background. But when you grab your colored pencil, I usually go around the edge to do the no line coloring, and then I just kind of start shading in lightly. But you'll notice when you go over the spot that had the white in it, it actually resists the color. Now, if you kept going heavy over that, it would probably cover it. But I love the way this looks, that you can just get this really easy shaded look. So isn't that pretty? And I guess you could, they don't have to be daisies. In the last video, someone asked about Prism Studio. Here's the link. Yes. So Prism Studio has various tools on their website. They have lots of dies. And this is a look at this stitching die that I'm using here. They've got watercolor pencils and colored pencils, and then we're going to be using these acrylic markers a little bit, and they're really fun. Plus, they have this holder and some tweezers, some really good basics to have, and blending brushes. All right, so we've got the center. We're just going to do kind of keep going here with our coloring. And all I'm doing here is adding a little bit of white highlights to our leaves. So you can't even see it. I don't even know really where I went with it, but I know that as soon as I start to go over it, and I do find that having a sharp point really helps. This is a Prismacolor colored pencil sharpener. And then I just outline it and just start at one edge coloring, and you can see how easily that resists. So this card, I mean, you might take a little bit longer to spend some time coloring, but I think if you're doing this and you're buying stamps, it's probably because you enjoy coloring and it's your kind of happy space. Then we're going to color in the stem, and you can see that that ink almost disappears. Now with colored pencils, let me just see here. I believe that they are Canadian. It's a Canadian website. It's Prism. Let me see here. prismstudio.ca. And I think on Instagram it's Prism Studio Canada. Hi, Annabella. Oh, I'm glad that you made it. You had to clear a path through the decorations. Are you decorating, Cynthia? I'm sorry you're still having problems, Ryan. All right, we're just tracing around, lightly coloring. I'm not even spending too much time on this. I'm just coloring the leaves. You could do different colors if you wanted for the stems and the leaves, but I felt like it was okay and just using one color. There is 3 different greens in the set. I feel like there's a really nice assortment of colors. And then wherever we added that white, now what we're going to do is actually take that white and we are going to go over top. And that, it's almost like it blends it out and gives it this soft, to me it almost looks like a watercolor. And I mean, the color pencils are great and they blend really nicely. And then I think combined with the paper, it really is a nice effect. And then if you just find that your pencil has picked up like green or something, you can just wipe it off. And we can do the same with the yellow, although I felt like the yellow was probably okay. And then same thing here. We're going to do our little mushrooms. So I use the red. Let's see here. This one is called Vermilion. And let's see. Hello, Tamara. Hello, Sanwana, which I'm sure I said completely wrong. Cynthia's decorating and stuff is everywhere. I haven't got my decorations out yet, but the girls don't have school on Friday, so I think we are going to set up our decorations then. So now that this is a little bit bigger spot, I'll kind of show you how I color when I color with color pencils. So I trace around the edge, and then I know that I want it a little bit darker here because that's what I've decided is going to be my shading. And then I just go a little bit lighter, and wherever I put that pencil, it's going to be even lighter. I love these little mushrooms. Sometimes I'll just go light over the whole thing and then come back and do a little bit of shading too. And that's easy. And then if you go over top with that pencil, you can see how I just feel like it's such a great step. Sometimes you will get a little bit of the pencil shavings, and I would just take a brush and just brush that off rather than wiping your hand over it because you might smudge that color. Here we have this mushroom here. And I don't know if I don't even realize I do it until I'm not doing it. But when I color, I think I tend to get quite close because I'm sitting so far back so that my head doesn't go in the camera. And it's almost like I'm hoping I don't go to the lines. All right. So just coloring a little bit heavier there. So who's got their tree up? I guess American Thanksgiving is coming up soon. And, you know, who's ready for Christmas? All right, so you can just see how that added that nice little light spot. And let's see here, what else are we going to color? This guy's hat is going to be pink, so I think we're done with the red. Put the red away, just to give that a wipe. And we just need a brown for the stem. I'm just adding a tiny bit of white highlights. Let's just check and see if I can see your comments. You have not even started yet, Maggie. And then Annabella says, your tree tradition is when the Toronto Santa Parade is on. I love that. Then it's movies and hot cocoa and cookies. That sounds so lovely. Let's see. Is the white used as a highlight? Yes, Brenda. So I'm using it as a highlight, and then I'm actually going over top and using it as a bit of a blender. So it seems to just resist the color a little bit, and then when I go over top, it just seems to blend. And let me just see. Your cards are almost done, Cindy. A live tree. Yeah. Doing your shopping. That's awesome. And Annabella used to be a Santa's elf helper. I love that. Okay, let's see. Oh, we just need brown here for the stem, and I wanted to go really lightly, so I'm going to add quite a bit of white here. I did some shopping already, so I think I've pretty much finished my shopping. And my middle daughter is 16, and she loves helping, so she's been a really big help. I'm just going to go really lightly. I don't want the whole thing to be brown, so I'm more so just tracing. Yeah, so she's been really great. And what else do I need? Oh, I know the only other thing I did on this one is grabbed some gray. So we went to Superstore, which I don't know, do people in the US have Superstore? Is it just a Canadian thing? Anyway, it was Tuesday night and it wasn't busy, thank goodness. So my 16-year-old loves to grocery shop, and so she wanted to come. And we spent 3 hours there. It was like, we have got to go. But she tried on clothes, and then we did some Christmas shopping, and they had Christmas music. It wasn't busy. And then we got some groceries, and but after 3 hours, I was ready to go. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a border on this pot, and then for the pot itself, We are going to paper piece. So if you're not sure about coloring, I feel like this is it's a really easy way to start. And that's just going over it really lightly and then darkening up the edges, because you can always layer on more color as you go. That's why I feel like it's a good set of colored pencils, because you can really get that layered color. And then we'll go over it and just kind of blend it with this white. It was almost just a little happy accident that I colored over top with the white. Alrighty. Yes, Carol's got her decorations up, gifts purchase, and need to wrap and grocery list. That is nice, because there is a lot to do. I do enjoy Christmas, but it is a lot, especially if you're the main one doing it. So we've got the white highlights on the hats, and I can tell that I need to go in and just give this a little bit of a sharpen again. And then this guy's hat, I thought we would do kind of let's see, I used a pink, almost this reddish pink. It's called, I don't know, Jaipur pink, which I'm probably not saying correctly as well, but I love Christmas, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Another tip too when you're coloring is if you've got a little bit larger area, sometimes I find that I get a smoother coloring if I do like a circular motion. And then you can just keep going back over to add those darker areas. So he's got a little pink hat. These guys are so super cute. I love the houses too. They're very, very cute. If you didn't see them when I was in the first video, they are really adorable. I know on the Art Impressions YouTube channel, they had a whole journal that they were doing with these guys, and it was really cute. And also, I noticed that I went out of the lines a little bit. This sand eraser Tombow Mono, it works really well if you go to the lines, which is awesome. All right, so we've got the little hat, and then this guy's going to have a green hat. Just cover his little hat. These would look cute paper pieced as well. There we go. My 16-year-old daughter, she has all the old Sears catalogs from, until they stopped making them, from when she was small and we used to get them, and she would just, pore over them and make her Christmas list. So she's still got all those. My kids do go through any of the little catalogs that come, like I think Toys R Us has one, and Amazon does have a little one. Chapters has a little one, but it's definitely not the same as the original Sears catalog for sure. All right, here's a little beard. I don't want to color the whole beard in, but I'm just going to go around And I think I got a little smudge there, or it could be his, maybe it's his mouth. Okay. So all I'm doing is just very lightly doing a little tiny bit of shading. But I guess you could always do like brown, or if you want a different color beard, for sure. But I felt like this was just very easy to do that shading. And then I'm going to grab a blue color. Now, a lot of times if I'm coloring, I will take a paper pack that I like or that I'm going to use with my card, and then I'll pull out a paper that has most of the colors that are in the paper pack, and then I can kind of choose any color that's in this paper and know that it's going to match. Will these work with Gamsol? I don't see why not, Cynthia. They probably would work really well. I thought about that. Yeah, that eraser is definitely handy. Yeah, I didn't try it with Gamsol, but I don't see why not. What was I doing? I was doing his little shirt. Okay. And if you want even to soften that a little bit more, you could go around that. So this is his little shirt. There's his hands. What do you guys like to do when you're coloring, if you do like coloring? I find I watch a lot of YouTube, well, not specifically watch, but listen either to YouTube videos or podcasts when I'm coloring. We'll just shade in those areas. I do have to work on a few more Christmas cards. I had just addressed some today. I've got to send them out, but I do need some more. Okay, here's his little pants. And I wasn't sure at first if this was his shoe, but I'm pretty sure it's his, like his leg, his knee that's bent. He's so cute. And over that. And let's see, we'll do his little shoes brown. So we've got the darker brown, it's the sepia brown. My daughter and I were also at the mall on Saturday. Yeah, we're at the mall on Saturday, and we were there pretty early, but it was really starting to get busy. So I was kind of glad that we didn't have to go for too much. I had to return something actually. And we did a little bit of shopping, and then she just said, like, we need to go. It's too busy. It's too busy here. So I don't like shopping when it's too busy. So I tend not to go out like for Black Friday sales. I don't know, is anybody doing a lot of Black Friday shopping? I think the nice thing too right now is that the nice thing is you can do a lot online if you don't like to go to the mall and try to get through the crowds. You like watching TV with your hubby while you're coloring. Nice. Cynthia, you were in HomeSense and it was a gong show. I know. I feel like HomeSense is always like that. Like it's almost like you don't think it's that bad, and then the checkout is like, what is happening? My daughter bought a vest at Urban Planet at the mall, and I mean, it was like the line was crazy. Alrighty, there's little boots, which are so cute. And then we're going to do his shirt. I figured I debated whether I should pre-color some of this, but I thought, you know what, it doesn't take that long, and it's kind of fun to just hang out and chat and color. Now, when you guys do make Christmas cards, do you tend to do coloring? I feel like I love doing cards with coloring that are kind of, I probably would do one or two, but not a whole bunch in a row. Need to do his little hands, and then I think that's pretty much it. To do his belt. So these guys, like, I love sitting down coloring or taking coloring to my daughter's soccer game and doing it there. But I feel like if I was mass producing something, I mean, we're not talking like hundreds or anything like that. Like Christmas cards, maybe I would make 20, but I would probably not choose something to color. I feel like I would choose more like die cutting or stamping. I feel like a little bit of that gray got into there. The little nose is so cute. All right, and then his little hands. And this side, and then we're going to die cut them out. And I was really impressed with how nicely they die cut out. Okay, I think that we've got all the coloring done, so we'll just put these guys together. Your grands send you links for their wishes. That is a great idea. And you did color about 12 cards. That's quite a bit. Customers can get Prism Studio products through many of their local scrapbook stores. Thanks, Stacy. Yes, I have seen lots of companies ordering these Prism Studios, and usually if you see a few Prism Studio, like, maybe you see, you don't see the color pencils, but you see the dies, then they can probably order them in if you ask them. Okay, so we're going to run these through. And you can see how nicely they line up, and I'm going to try not to put my head into camera. All right. Let's just run that through. So these ones, because they cut so nice and close, I probably wouldn't die cut them first. There's some that I would, some images I would cut out first if I was, you know, maybe doing them assembly line, but these ones I think cutting them out after is probably the better option. Okay, so there's our, look how cute. You have a few packs of their foil papers. Yeah, they do have some beautiful foil papers and a lot of different cardstock colors. Stick these to the side. And they have a lot of different, like they have the watercolor paper and mixed media paper and sketching papers. They're so cute, hey? You saw a card done the other day and they were showing how the cardstock matches the foil. I did not know that, Cynthia. That's awesome. And that's good to know. Okay, so he's going to go sit on there. But before we do that, we're going to actually die cut out our square. And I think I have to see what one I used. Okay, I used that one. So we're just going to place it about, I think about there looks good. Okay, let's run this through. Yeah, I will have to check because I do have a lot of the colors and the foil. So that is really neat. And I believe that they have on the Prism Studio website, they have tutorials and stuff. Okay, so that, and it has just a really, really fine detailed stitching, which is nice. So we've got our card base, which I scored, and then there's a couple different bone folders that they have on their website. I have this one. It's actually a really, really good weight. And so I scored the paper with this on a scoring board. And I think having a good bone folder is definitely essential. And you've got various, you know, you've got a pointy edge and a rounded edge. And then I really think that it's designed well. So we've got that. We're going to glue on our papers. And then we'll finish our sky. So we've got the Easy Runner Grand. This is the Ultra Permanent. And it's the tape runner. I like the Ultra Permanent. I feel like it sticks really well. And I use the striped paper for this. And on my sample card, here it is, I use the plaid paper. So the largest stitched die on the stitched rectangles is just a little bit smaller than your A2 card front, so you've got a little bit of a border. And again, this is hard when I don't want to get my head right in the camera, so I'm just going to move it a little bit to the side. There we go. I don't know, Maggie. I don't think I did that much. It's just the gnomes are cute and the colored pencils work well. Sometimes it's just, you know, the paper. I find that matching colors makes a big difference. If you match your colors to your paper, then it looks great. And practice too. If you like coloring or you want to start coloring and get better at it, just keep doing it. So then I cut out a square that's a little bit larger than this piece here. I did not put that on straight. I don't know. I'm going to blame it on standing. But anyway, I'm used to not, for some reason, I just feel like I struggle to get things straight. But it's handmade, not Hallmark, so it's okay. And yeah, I can tell that it's not exactly straight. I could pull it off and fix it, but I think we're just going with it. Okay, so before we glue this on, we're going to do our background and we're going to do our mushrooms. So we've got the paint markers. So the paint markers come in a set of 8, and they are acrylic paint in a marker, and you shake it up so that the paint mixes. Just check if there's any comments here. So you're going to shake it back and forth, and then to start it, well, I've already started this one. Let's take one that I didn't start, just so you can kind of see. I'm going to shake this up. I'll grab a little piece of paper here that I was just scribbling on. And to start it, it kind of shows you here, you've got the paint. Once you depress the little nib on the end, then the paint will come out. The other ones, the paint came out really quickly. This one's a little bit slower, but I can see that it's coming to the top. There we go. And then once the paint is there, you can, draw or paint with it or whatever. They're really cool, and they have this acrylic. They are acrylic paint, so they'll dry like that. So with the blue, I wanted more of a watercolor background. So what I decided to do was scribble a little bit on the side. And acrylic paint is water-based, so we can add some water to it. Let's move this stuff out of the way. And we want a pretty light watercolor effect. It is really nice and pigmented. I've got a little bit of water in case I need a little bit more water. And I'm just mixing that around to get a lighter watercolor effect. And then what I'm going to do is just come around my images. I forgot to put my grass on, so I'll do that after. And I'm just blotting that on in a watercolor fashion. And because this is that mixed media paper, it's really does well if you add any wet. Now you could use the watercolor paper if you were watercoloring. You could use it for this as well, but I felt like the mixed media paper worked really well with the colored pencils. So this just makes a really pretty background. And if you want to soften out those edges, you can just get a little bit of water and move that around. So you can really play around with that to get some pretty detail. And we barely used any of that paint. I just put a little bit on the background, added some water. So we still have lots of paint left on our background if we wanted to know, if you wanted to take a tag or add something to an extra piece of paper. So I have just an extra. If I'm doing any mixed media, I usually just take some extras and I just dip them in, and then that will create a background for something else. And then I feel like I don't waste it. So we'll set that aside and that'll dry, and we'll be able to do something else with that. And then of course, oops, it wipes up very nicely because it's just water-based. We're going to just use our heat gun for a second, just because that's a little bit wet and we want to make sure that it's dry. And then the white I really, really like. So the white, again, the same paint pen. But we want our little dots on our mushrooms, so this is perfect. You can make them larger or smaller just by dotting really lightly, or isn't that nice? Like, I think having a nice white paint pen is really great. And then we'll just grab our green again, just to make a little bit of grass, because we forgot to do that. So I just kind of freehand did some grass and then did a little bit of shading. And you can just get a really soft shaded look just by using that edge of the colored pencil. And Art Impressions as well. They have lots of different floral and grass stamps. So if you felt like you wanted to stamp something on, you could do that too. So we'll just add, that's our grass. This is our background. And then we just need our little pot that we're paper piecing. So I stamped the little gnome and just stamped him again onto the pattern paper. And we can just go around the edge really lightly with our colored pencil. I actually stamped this one in the Ground Espresso archival ink. And this will just give us a little bit of shading. And then we'll just fussy cut this out. So as long as you're moving your paper, you're going to be able to get a pretty close cut and pretty smoothly. So I don't want the top of the pot, I just want the base. I think this would be cute too if you wanted to make this a Christmas card and put like a little Christmas tree in this pot. That would be adorable. If I am making Christmas cards that I stamp in color, I usually find that I just will make one or two of those. And those are the special ones. But we all know those special people who get the cards, that take the time, and we know that they'll appreciate them. Okay, let's put on our glue this right down to our image. Isn't that cute? And I'm going to go over this with the heat gun just to be sure that that paint, I think it is dry, because it dries pretty quick, but that's so that I don't smudge anything. And I'm just testing this, and it is completely dry. Like, that did not take long at all. So we've got our background on, and I felt like I wanted to pop up the pot with the gnome. So I've got two different foam squares. I've got the regular 3D foam squares. I think these might be an old packaging. This is the new packaging. So this is just, you know, the regular thickness of the Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. And we'll add that. I also love the roll of foam tape. I use that quite a bit as well, the large roll. Okay, so there's the little gnome, and you can kind of see he's got that dimension on him. And then I grabbed the thin 3D foam squares. So these are about half the size of these, and so I can put this on. I didn't do this on my original card, but after I had put it on, I felt like I wished that I would have put the thinner strips on, just to give a couple different dimensions on here. So this one's popped up a little higher, and this one is a little bit shorter, a little bit lower profile. These are also great if you're scrapbooking and you don't want a whole lot of dimension on your page. They just give you that little bit. You can kind of see it's just a little bit of dimension. And then this guy, I thought we would just glue him directly down. We could put him on, we could do the thinner foam. He's so tiny. No. Let's see. Sometimes I find if I've got to do some gluing and I use my media grip mat, there we go. That just holds whatever I'm gluing down in place so that he doesn't slide all around the place. So he's going to sit right on this mushroom. I felt like he sat really nicely on there. And then the last thing that we need to do, we've got the 1/8 of an inch glue dots, and these are perfect for adding our robin's nest dewdrops. So there's a whole bunch of different collections of these dewdrops in the Robin's Nest Creative Shop. They're in the US. And I like just mixing and matching. Thanks, Rhonda. Whatever colors I have, I usually mix and match. And they have different shapes. And then there's large circles and small ones. So I'm going to pull out these colors. And all we need to do is grab our little adhesive dot. It's nice and tiny. And then we can stick it on our background. And we know it's not going to go anywhere. and then the red one. There we go. There's lots of sentiments that you could definitely use with these stamps. Those sentiments were from the Little Things Sentiments set, which has lots of references to little things, which is great. You bought some Prism green foil from Stacy. That's awesome. Yes, most times you can check at your local scrapbook store and just ask them, you know, if there's something you're looking for. So if they don't have the Prism Studio, they might be able to order it in for you. So here's a look at the card. And again, we use the Prism Studio colored pencils and the cute little gnome stamps from Art Impressions. So these guys are really cute. I can see coloring lots of these guys up. And I think they could be little Christmas gnomes if you decided you wanted to decorate them for Christmas. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Let me see. Cindy, you did some homemade cards and a lot of hybrid. Nice. I hope that you guys have a great week. I guess this week is American Thanksgiving. So anybody who's celebrating that, have fun shopping. There's lots of deals I've seen popping up. And thanks guys so much for hanging out and spending time here. The new winter issue is just out. Do I have my issue? I don't have it. It's downstairs. There's so many amazing projects. Definitely check that out. We have some people sharing, I've seen their copies. Definitely, if you have your copy, snap a picture and let us see you with your magazine. We would love to see. And if you don't have it yet and you aren't subscribed, then definitely pick it up. It's great, isn't it, Yuko? All right. Thanks so much, guys. We will talk to you later. Have a wonderful week. Thanks, Cynthia. Bye.